Yes, people, welcome back to DR Sports and welcome to the Live at 5 show. We've got a lot to get through today. We've got Liverpool in limbo. We've got Arsenal in the ascendancy. We've got Chelsea capitalising, maybe. I've run out of words, but I've got a blockbuster show today. So wherever you are, if you're on YouTube watching us, if you're on Samsung watching us, get your popcorn because this is going to be box office. With me today, look, I mean, it's a box office duo I've got with me. I've got AGT one side of me. First of all, away from the football, great weekend.
Yeah.
Really good weekend. So
Away
engagement
from
party.
the football, yeah, like you say, engagement party. It was a emotional night, but a very good night. And genuinely, as soon as that football, I mean, you've seen the video, I just turned it off before the game. Even I kind of did a consensus because there was like probably 50 Liverpool fans in the room, a sprinkling of Chelsea and Arsenal fans. And I just looked around the Scousers and I went, I'm turning it off. And they went,
We'll call it there.
just get it off. And then, like I said, straight to the bar. Forgot about it, and then I had to come here. So then didn't not forget about it then.
Yeah. So if anyone's going to cook AGT in the chat, if you've got anything to say about him,
today, Jack, come on.
yeah, but at least start with a congratulations AGT.
Yeah, that's nice.
But so
That's
at least be nice to him before.
Yeah,
No, big
appreciate
moment.
that.
And on the other side,
That's
probably
good.
the one person who's been chomping at the bit all day to get at AGT is Laurie. How are you? Good weekend.
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm looking at AGT there. First of all, big up on the party. I've
There
seen
you
some
go.
of
We've got to be nice
the
first.
pictures. No,
Yeah,
listen,
big
I
up.
was saying to him, I'd love to have been there. It looked a
Yeah.
really good night. Congratulations
Thank
to
you,
you.
man.
and
You
your
would have
better
loved
half.
it, You would have loved it.
Yeah,
And Laurie,
I would have
and
done.
Robbie.
I'll tell you what I also loved, though.
Here we go already.
The football, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, the title of the live today is Who's to Blame at Liverpool? So, I mean, there's a lot of people going at the manager. There's a few people going at players.
I think there's a few contenders.
There's a few contenders because that's 3 losses in a row. It was the second time under Slot you'd lost 2 in a row, and now they've done 3 in a row for the very first time. So first of all, where are you at with it? Are you incredibly frustrated, or is this a blip? Because people are saying that City have these blips when they win the year. Everyone has a dip, but you've just had it now.
Yeah. Well, I suppose you could say, oh, at least it's happened now, so it doesn't happen again. But there's no guarantee it doesn't still happen later on in the season. It's so difficult to comprehend because of the start that we had. It's difficult for us to be 10 games in all comps into this season now and be really disappointed considering the dramatic, not even maybe, the performances haven't been great all season, but 7 out of 10 of the results have been.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to sit here after 10 and feel like I've been shortchanged a little bit because of the points on the board so far, because of the fact that we're 1 point now behind Arsenal. But if Liverpool hung on and didn't, hook it away for a throw-in against Palace, if we didn't concede a 50-50 penalty, if we didn't concede another last-minute, goal at Stamford Bridge, then we could be saying, well, it's 3 draws in a row. It's not great. Shooting boots are not to be found. But fine margins as they are in football, we lost all 3. So it's something that has to stop now. I'm actually really excited that there's a nice international break coming up where I don't have to be, or my happiness or my mood doesn't have to be dictated by 11 men plus probably 3 or 4 off the bench. And the manager, of course, is included in that. A break now to reset. I mean, there's so many signs of fatigue, especially in the last 3 games, which I don't understand. I know McAllister didn't have much of a pre-season. Isaac didn't either. But the top names I'm looking at that basically won Liverpool the league last season, I'm looking at Mo Salah, I'm looking at Konate, I'm looking at McAllister, all well off it at the minute. And if I'm honest, I could probably name you 3 players at a push who have actually done well for Liverpool this season. And they would be Alisson, because without him, I think we'd be in a way worse position. Dominic Szoboszlai, who's been Mr. Versatile. In every defeat, he's actually the one that's still trying right up until the end to cross it or do something with the ball. And then probably Chiesa, maybe Ekitike. But the rest, I mean, Doyle and I tried to form our strongest 11 on form and fitness right now. And we're struggling to do it. And with the money that Liverpool have spent, you would think that all of those should just be filled up automatically, right? Those the informed teams and informed players. But yeah, we're going through a very frustrating time right now. To be a fan, this is when you need to back your team and get behind them instead of throwing the toys out the pram. I've seen a lot of people overreacting and saying things that are clearly just to get numbers or whatever, and that's their thing. I don't. I'm not. Be mad at the game, not the players, right? But I do think there's this mad overreaction a little bit.
Yeah.
And hopefully, with United at home, it represents a great opportunity to boost the mentality back up before we've got another really hard 3 or 4 away games coming up as well. So I'm not worrying too much. I think, yes, it's a blip, but you don't want the blip to start spreading into 4 or 5. I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so, mate. But there's a lot of bad things going on right now. So
some people
we
in
need to
chat
sort
saying
them out.
congratulations, though. So the people are being nice.
That's
Kyle saying
nice,
congratulations. Now, Laurie, last night we had a bit of a blockbuster show, FCM. Again, if you've not seen it, it's rolling on Samsung TV on the GFN Soccer TV channel. It's on YouTube if you've not seen it. And Fuad was saying that he's seen so many people online go in at Arne slot, but then he's saying, sit there and name me any players that have turned up. Like, Salah's not the same Salah. McAllister's not the same McAllister. So how are you going at the manager? Or do you think there is some tactics in there as well that are sort of concerning you?
Well, what I would say right from the outset is that the buck always stops with the manager. I mean, a couple of weeks ago when Arsenal had, flat to deceive in a couple of games, Arteta was getting it. It wasn't necessarily the players. So the managers, unfortunately, are always going to come in for a lot of blame. But having said that, when the team is performing, then they get a lot of the praise. One thing I would say, and I'd be interested to hear Alex's thoughts on this, is that Arne Slot, who, by the way, I am an admirer of, I've given him enough credit last season when, to all intents and purposes, you pretty much overperformed, didn't you? You think about it, spent, 12.5 million on one player, that was about it. And they went on to win a title with some ease, dare I say.
10 points,
compared to
but it
this
should have been more.
Yeah. Compared to this season, where they've spent like nearly 450 million and have had let's be honest, the last couple of games have been very disappointing. But one thing I've seen from Arne Slot, and I have given him a lot of credit before, is I've noticed that he's starting to go down the route of blaming time added on and excuses here, excuses there. And I thought, a little bit disappointing, man. I want to hear you be a little bit more, either you're going to give the teams you've been playing some more credit, or, attribute your losses down to stuff that you have not been doing. Start blaming referees and time added on. I thought, a little on the churlish side for me. I'm a bit disappointed in Arne Slot for that, because I always had him down as one of the real ones. In fact, I remember it was not so long ago, Alex, me and you, and I was saying to you, I gave him credit for the way he handled the Ekatike sending off. When he was real, he came out and said, look, no, you bang out of order, you shouldn't have done that. And you know what I mean? So for him to do that on Saturday, I was like, come on, bro. Like, you guys have...
What was the exact line you reckon you found kind of not offensive?
There's been a few
the
games
receipts
now where they've lost and he's made it. Huh?
He's going for receipts. He's the HMRC of
No, he
DR
just
Sports.
time added on and stuff like that. I just thought, come on.
I think his thing at the weekend was, the Galatasaray penalty probably isn't a penalty, but then is it Szoboszlai or is it Isak gets a bit of a slap in the face at one point?
Yeah,
and he said,
Isak,
if that's midweek, we get that one. And then Crystal Palace is
he makes
97, they let them take the throw in, but then there's been other games where they've called it short, and it's just the inconsistency, I think, is what he's going at.
Yeah, I think when you look at time added on, it's always a minimum, isn't it? So it's a minimum of 5 minutes, and then whatever happens after that, gets
But you
added
guys have
on
been
at
the
the end.
beneficiary of time added
I know,
on.
Until Liverpool score, whatever they are.
Yeah, well, at the minute it's until the other team score, because we keep conceding last-minute winners in the Prem. But I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with him. That's his prerogative. He can. He's obviously got like his team showing him like, look, this is the minute they scored. This was how much was added on. But at the end of the day, you've got to defend it. You've got to defend. You can't kick that ball out at Palace. I mean, the game's literally done, right?
That's what I would prefer to hear him say.
When you analyse the urgency or actual lack of urgency from the Palace players to take that throw, everyone's happy with a draw. We shake hands, everyone walks away. We both get a point. With the Galatasaray one, he did blow up a little bit early. But again, if you don't take your chances in the game, these are the things that you resort to. What's the right word? Not to cover you up, but it's almost like if we'd won that 3-1, who's talking about the added time?
Well, this is what I'm saying, because
earlier
in the season,
or too much
when
of
you
it.
played Newcastle, for example, and you got the late goals, it was
that was 11 minutes added on.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the stuff at Newcastle is because they, it's barely in play up at Newcastle. The stats prove that. But again, it's a little bit petty, because if we'd won those games, you wouldn't hear anything about added time. But I think when you're a manager at a club like Liverpool and you lose a couple of games in a row, the journalists and the media, and he knows this as well, they're out to get you. They want to trip you up. Arteta's had it himself, where every kind of thing is analysed. I remember the the one about the ball, and they kind of edited the clip to make it look like he was.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful what you say because they misconstrue you, but also at the same time, do your job on the pitch, and then you don't have these headaches off the pitch.
Yeah, and there's a few people in the chat making the same point. So Uber Steve says the only reason Liverpool last season won the league was because of Klopp. Slot still got to prove himself, and then E54 Ultra comes in and says that was Klopp's team. They were self-motivated, nothing to do with Slot. So my question is there anything with Slot specifically that's concerning you? Because there's a clip that's going around at the minute of sort of someone throws the ball. I think Sanchez throws the ball over Salah's head, and it's immediately to Cucurella, and he's beaten your whole press. And then you've signed Kirkez, who's the best fullback in the league, maybe at bombing up and down, but then he's tucking it into a back three. Is that tactical things, or is this like you've got to learn that role? That's how we're playing at Liverpool.
I think the squad available compared to the squad available last season is so different. So you have to come up. You can't just have, and we've seen this with Amorim, we've seen it with how many managers who stick to their system. Slot will have to adapt to his own formations that were working last year, and now we're going to have to go. I think Slot in this international break needs to sit down. I'm not sure about getting the old tactics board out because that gets laughed at.
Well, Amorim at Grimsby.
Yeah, even though he's a head coach at Liverpool, so earn your money. Find a new formation, find a new way to surprise teams that you're playing against. Because like you say, Cucurella in his interview after said, we knew that if we got it past Salah, we'd broken the trap so we can progress from that angle of the pitch. We can't really afford players to be telling the whole world what works against Liverpool. So it's about going back to basics almost. Can we play with a 2 up front? Can we play with 3 in midfield? Of the 3 that are in midfield at the minute, are they on form? Probably not. Do we have to change things up a little bit? Tactically, I mean, maybe not tactically, but personnel. I think when you bring on Endo, I know Konate got injured, but when you bring on Endo and put him in midfield and you leave Gravenberch at centre-back, that's a little bit of an issue. I think there's been cries to probably drop Mo Salah. He did it for Galatasaray. He's probably going through the worst period of his Liverpool career.
Oh, without doubt.
Yeah, and I think we might actually have a graphic to cue on screen if we can get that one up, because Dead Cert's in the chat as well says Salah doing no off-the-ball work looks a lot worse when he's not scoring every game. And you can see there on screen his last 6 ratings in the Premier League. It's a lot of orange ratings. There's a red one in there. I mean, he's walked away with a few goals and assists in those games. I think he got the assist at Newcastle, right? For the winner, but the general performance is it what does that? How can you sign the contract? Because I mean, Arsenal fans, Laurie, we've known with Aubameyang, signs the contract, falls off the face of the earth. I don't think it's that with Salah, but
no, it's not been previously. No. But we do also factor into the equation that Salah is now getting on a bit now in football terms. Yeah, so I think it might be a little unfair to expect him to produce the same running stats, for example, that he would have produced.
Because he said to Slot last season, he said, he told him what he wanted to do. He was like, look, I'm not going to run as much this year. If you want me to be that kind of machine up front who's getting you 20 assists and 30 goals, I'll do that.
Yeah, don't ask me to sit
back. But don't ask me. And I think because of the personnel that are left that he was so used to playing with, you look at Trent on that right-hand side, how many times... And Trent was injured a lot last season as well. Let's not pretend like Trent played every minute for Liverpool last year. Conor Bradley, that was his breakthrough season really last year. He's missing that creativity. He's probably missing linking up. I know he was much maligned at times, but actually him and Darwin Núñez had a great personal interlinking record together. Diaz, who has shone already at Bayern Munich, he's missing him a bit. They would interchange a lot. So it's going to take more time, but how much time do we have? I know we say it's a blip, but if this carries on, for the next, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 games, then it does become a prolonged
Well, your
issue.
game after the international break against
United
is a massive
and then it's
game.
Frankfurt away. And then I think it's
you've got Brentford at some point
away after that, which is always tough. And then after that, I think it's Villa away and then City away. And you compare that to Arsenal's next few games, there could be a bit of a shift here. But you see how quickly things change. Last week, Liverpool had a chance to go 8 points clear of Arsenal. We're now 1 behind them. So things change so rapidly in football. In 2 weeks, we could be sitting here saying, Liverpool are a point ahead of Arsenal. It's so early yet. And that's my kind of saving grace at the minute. If we were in March, April, I'd be really worried in terms of that push, that motivation to go and finish off the season. Another thing that I don't think has been mentioned too much recently, I know Liverpool on the pitch have been poor, but Virgil alluded to it in an interview. And actually, an article came out after the first game of the season when we beat Bournemouth 4-2. I think it was the Mirror, who said, listen, it's great Liverpool winning last minute, but at some point across the season, the grief of losing their very close teammate will actually come through. Now, look, I wanted to make this extremely clear. I am never going to use that as an excuse for Liverpool losing. But one thing that is true, and Virgil alluded to the other day, is everyone deals with grief differently. It's a time thing. It's a healing thing. Every single person, I mean, we've all lost people in our lives and we've been affected by it, and maybe you don't really truly process it for a year or 2 years after. What we need to remember is these lads were with Diogo for every day for the last 5 years, and we've lost games recently because we've been poor on the pitch, but mentally, in kind of dark times, you think, wow, how am I dealing with this? They've had no time to deal with it. They're all at his funeral. They had to go bang straight to Hong Kong. I was with the team. There was a press conference that I was at, and they came out before and said no mention of it. So it's almost like they've been holding on to this grief. They're not really allowed to publicise it, or the club maybe don't want them to. You know, I think in a public space, maybe you don't want to talk about that. It's a really difficult subject to talk about. But I think mentally, at some point across the season, if it isn't already now, that's such a big thing that's happened to these lads, and they've all got to move on and try and do their best in life. But when something like that happens, it's very difficult.
Yeah,
so.
and you make an amazing point as well, because a lot of people have sort of been pointing at Salah interview, the Van Dijk interview, and saying, well, you know, you've lost a couple of games, is it catching up? But it is really important to say that after the Bournemouth game, I think Salah looks really he just scored in the last minute and he was a bit despondent. So it is a thing that's gonna, over the course, and again, like you say, no one knows how people deal with that, when they're going to deal with it, whether it's just going to come out the blue somewhere and hit you like a ton of bricks. So it is really important to definitely keep on that. But look, you've been sort of talking about Liverpool all day. You've done the Weekend Roundup show earlier. Again, if you haven't seen it, it's
Cop TV this morning.
Yeah, Cop TV as well. It's all rolling on Samsung. If it's on YouTube, go check it out. You've been cooked. You've analysed.
Do you reckon it's the biggest cooking ever on DR?
Boy,
this morning.
I mean,
probably
look,
the most
about
deserved
35 minutes, Jack.
If anyone's in the chat,
Good
that's
luck
obviously
clipping that up.
If anyone in the chat has seen the Weekend Roundup this morning, put it in the chat if you think it is the biggest
I'm
cooking
about to
ever.
have a nap, mate.
It's up there. I saw you outside, just sat with a packet of crisps or something, just getting your thoughts together. But look, we've criticised Liverpool enough, Laurie. I know you're having a great time, but we should probably move on to Chelsea.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do we? Must we? Okay.
Come on, final thoughts.
No, the one thing I would say about Liverpool this season is it's something that is fairly obvious, but not too many people have mentioned it. Is that where I will give Liverpool a little bit of slack is that when you last season the manager won that trophy. To his credit, they just brought in the one player, Chiesa. This time they've spent a lot of money, brought in quite a few players, and players will invariably take time to settle. We're seeing that at the moment with a couple of our guys. Unfortunately for Liverpool, some of your main guys, namely Wirtz, has not settled in as you would have expected. So there is going to be that time where he's got to acclimatise and get to grips with the Premier League. Now, for every week that goes and he's not producing, not playing well, the pressure builds. So, you know, there is that.
Yeah, the pressure definitely builds because of the price tag, because there's less patience when you pay that much money. Like I said earlier, if this was 30 games in, I'd be beside myself. But I think you have to zoom out a little bit of the timeline of the season and go, right, it is just October. We've got 2 weeks to reset. If it carries on, we can definitely talk about there being a big issue to come here. But teething problems, I think you could maybe say that. You could say still working out what the best system is, still working out the best personnel. I assume and I hope and I touch wood that it clicks and, you know, Liverpool do find their way again. But at the minute, I think there's a lot of thinking to do. It's less about, you know, just doing it. It's a lot of thinking to do. How do we approach different games and have people worked us out? What do we need to... What's the needle mover here? Who do we swap? Because like I said, if you're 10 to 10 games into a season through injury, form, fitness, and you don't know who your strongest 11 is, which I don't think we do at the minute, that could be a problem.
That is why the spending of money, they call it the blessing and the curse. Because
poison chalice.
Yeah, because the one thing that Slot did have last season was a settled side that knew each other, knew the game plan, went out there, was able to execute. This season's a little different. You're introducing players. I mean, for example, even Isak's come in already. You know what I mean? Even though he's played in the Premier League, even though he's one of the best number 9s in the world, still going to take time for him
Fitness
to acclimatise to the way you play. It's different. So things like that, you know what I mean? It's going to take time, so we'll see.
Yeah, and you're under the magnifying glass as well. I mean, Wirtz comes on, plays a disgusting little flick, and then Salah misses, and that could be an assist, and no one's talking about it anymore. But he's done that quite a lot.
You're right. If people in front of Wirtz could finish, he'd be on 5 assists this season.
Yeah, I mean, he got one in the Community Shield, but no one wants to count that one.
No one wants to. I know I was there, and it was a great assist. He could have had a couple assists in the Champions League. Obviously, he could have scored a couple as well, but that pass was like, and that was his first touch after coming on straight into it. I mean, did you see that? It was like a 360, perfectly into Salah's path. But again, where's your shooting boots? You got if you are on your right foot and you're in Mo Salah in that position. I know Cucurella is coming. You meet it and drill it right foot, almost a side pass through into the corner, or you whip it with your left foot. You position your body and you whip it round. Just got no confidence or power at the minute.
Yeah, it was a weird one.
For me, it's like, where's the power gone? Where's them whips? Where's them lung busting runs? Like, I know he's 33, we say that, but peak physical condition still. And I'm just thinking the shots that kind of ballooned over, they didn't fly past the post. They were,
but here's the thing, when you get
the power?
Someone like Salah that's underperforming, it's up to the other guys in the team to lift their levels so you don't notice it as much.
Exactly.
And that was the thing this season as well, wasn't it? The thing was that the burden's off him a little bit because you've got your Isaacs and you've got your Wirtz now. But look, last thing on Liverpool, we run a poll in the chat. What's going wrong for Liverpool? 39% of people are saying player performances, 32% saying tactics, and 29% saying just a blip. So I mean, people are fairly split.
Like we said, it could be any of those three or a mix of them all, plus other factors as well. Jurgen Slot here in the chat says 1 point behind Arsenal and we're in crisis.
I mean, you could go and put 7 past United at Anfield. You're back above us.
Yeah, I mean,
if we drop points to Fulham away, which is a tricky game.
But the thing is, right, even that's a bit of a misnomer because yes, you are only 1 point beyond Arsenal. But then let's look at it the other way. It's 3 defeats on the spin. There's always concern at any club, let alone a club like Liverpool. When you lose 3 on the bounce,
there's no need to go over the top.
No, there's not. But fans naturally do. A couple of weeks ago when we drew at Man City, you saw the outpouring of like,
and that's how things. That's how quickly
football's
things
a reactionary
can change.
sport.
It's reactionary. It's rapid. It's linear. There's never an end to football. So there's always going to be, like I said, we could be here in 2 weeks and Man City are top.
Yeah.
And then what do we say?
It's not going to happen, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
You know what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and Yusuf puts in the chat just to end it off, or defending Van Dijk. I mean, we've seen.
Do you know what? I can't blame Van Dijk for that. Where's the CDMs? Where's the destroyer going to smash them out
McAllister doesn't clip it. It gets rolled, and then should maybe clip his ankles. Maybe just take the foul and then
bust your neck to get back, mate.
Yeah, and then Caicedo.
I don't want to see you heads down, like just blinkers on, get back and defend.
But the memes are quite funny.
The memes will do. I expect the memes. Like when a big team like Liverpool loses, everyone tries to feast and
when Mitoma put Joe Gomez down, and that went viral there.
We've seen that. But I don't think Van Dijk. Maybe he could step out and maybe rush Caicedo and not give him that much time.
There's someone running off him, isn't there? It's almost like he's peeled off to who's running and hoping that Caicedo either messes his shot up or Canate gets across to him, and everyone sort of leaves him. That's not really
Van Dijk's job. He's actually backing off. How Caicedo is allowed the fake shot and then another touch to shoot.
Especially when you consider a couple of weeks before
I'd be going, where are you?
He scored a similar goal.
Yeah.
Remember, it was against Brentford.
Yeah.
But it scored almost the exact same goal.
Down there, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Laurie, so when one team loses, that means another team's won. So it's probably only fair that we speak about Chelsea. And we'll start with Caicedo. Best midfielder in the Premier League as an Arsenal fan? He's
definitely in the argument. I mean, as you know, Jack, being an Arsenal fan, he was linked to us for a long time. And in the end, we went for Declan Rice. I'm not saying I regret that because Declan's been superb for us, as he was on Saturday, by the way. But yeah, listen, man, Caicedo, he's quality. And I've said before, and I'm pretty sure Alex will attest to this, I've said several times that Chelsea are one of those teams that I don't think they're serious title contenders. Those words may come back to bite me, but what I would say about them, they have a lot of talent within their team and their squad. And if they get it right on the day, they're a very, very difficult team to overcome. And you saw that on Saturday. They were massively up for that game. They were under a bit of pressure themselves going into that game. There's talk about Maresca being in trouble, weren't there?
Got himself a red card at the weekend, so that's 4 red cards in 4 Prem games, or 3 and 3 or something now. So
and you could see by the way he celebrated that. I've seen...
Yeah, that's relief.
He probably celebrated that goal there more than he did when they won that European trophy in the World
That's
Cup.
well, it's not European trophy. It's Champions of the World. I'll have you know.
They're
not European
they
champions.
won the Conference League thing.
Oh yeah.
So that shows you how much pressure he was under. So that was a big win for them. Make no mistake, because I honestly thought Liverpool were going to beat them.
I think it's the biggest win in his. I know they've won trophies, but I think it's the most
Statement.
It's a statement, but it also connects him more than ever to the fans. I think, look, how many times we've seen Klopp or Mourinho or whoever it is run down the touchline. It's just passion. And I'm on his side here. I love that. That's what we want to see in the game, I think. We want to see characters. And
Yeah, I think Carragher came out and said that, didn't he? That's what you want to see.
that's what you want to see. But to be sent off and then to not be allowed to do your press conference after because you got a red card, that's one of the
It'll be suspended now, won't it?
stupidest
Touchline
rules
ban.
I've ever seen. That.
You think so? Why is it so stupid? I mean, what's
So
the
he can't do a
punishment for
press
getting sent
conference.
off?
So he can't do a press conference.
No, but when a player gets sent off, they don't do interviews after the game.
Well,
do they?
yeah, they could come out. Yeah,
They can
have
do.
done.
I
They come out and
remember David
apologise.
Luiz has done one where he's
Yeah.
pushed everyone out of the way and gone, let me
okay.
speak for making
Yeah.
a mistake.
Yeah, it
But
did seem
I
a
mean,
little
that
odd.
is such a silly rule because after a game like that, it's the first thing you want to do is talk to the press. Maybe not the first thing, but as a manager, you want to say, yeah, like we did it.
Maybe
it's a
that's
massive win.
their idea of punishing him. Because, right, you're not going to get your.
I think
5
it's
minutes
just.
of
I
fame.
think it's ridiculous to be honest. But listen, I would have done the same. Klopp would have done the same. We all would have done the same, and I think that win has connected him more to the fan base than any other win he's got at Chelsea.
yeah, and the debate is about Caicedo, obviously. I think we can show you on screen now what Gary Neville said about him. And just saying, look, he's the best midfielder in the Premier League at this moment in time. It's something that I think Carragher's come out and said the other one. He said Declan Rice, I believe,
I think it's
he's better
between
at passing.
three.
And there's Rodri, Gravenberch. I think there's 4.
I think there's 4. I think
Yeah.
those are the. I mean, on form as well, you'd probably have McAllister in there, but
If I asked you to rank the 4 on form
right now,
right now,
I mean, 2 weeks ago it probably was Ryan Gravenberch.
yeah,
So
that's why I've asked you now.
right. I would go Rice, Caicedo, Gravenberch, Rodri.
Laurie?
I'd probably say Caicedo, Rice, Gravenberch, Zubimendi might get an honourable mention.
Okay. So
Yeah, I mean-
you'd have
Probably 10.
Caicedo above Declan Rice?
Just slightly.
Bruno's
because
probably
at a-
up there as well.
Yeah, that's a good
just
shout.
slightly. But
And-
Rice is definitely in the conversation. I mean,
So what is it about Caicedo that you look at then that Rice does? Because a lot of people are saying, I think Carragher came out and said, well, Rice has got he takes corners, can take free kicks. He's got like the 50-yard diag ping on him. He's probably got more technical ability. But then people are saying, well, no one does what Caicedo does better than Caicedo, right?
yeah, he's got the running, the athleticism, the tackling, the dueling, the leadership. Because for me, he's a leader of that midfield. I know Enzo's got the armband, but for me, the way Caicedo plays, he plays like he's the focal point. And yeah, he's been outstanding. He's got a couple of worldies recently
Yeah,
as well.
he's unlocked that, hasn't he? The shooting. We didn't think we had that.
So
But
I would just edge it towards him. Maybe it's a bit of recency bias because of that great goal he scored. Although Rice scored at the weekend as well. Maybe not as aesthetically, beautiful as Caicedo's goal. But it's very close. But he's definitely in the conversation. He's quality. There's no doubt about that.
He's definitely showing it now. I think Matisse said earlier on that he was doing this last season, but no one really cared or watched because obviously Rice and McAllister and Gravenberch were the top 2 teams. So he's a great player. I think he does score a lot of good goals as well, and I think he's woken people up a little bit more to his ability. So,
And I heard somebody say something the other day. I forget who it was. One of the pundits was saying that when Caicedo plays well, Chelsea play well. Now I know that might be a kind of simple statement.
so it wasn't an easy start for him at Chelsea, was it?
Yeah.
He got
no,
sent
I think
off
he
and-
gave a penalty away against
That
West
was
Ham
the
on his
West Ham.
debut,
Yeah,
and it was the
yeah, that's
115
right,
million
yeah.
down the drain,
There you
biggest
go.
signing ever. But a good point in the chat from Dead Cert says, wait, Jamie just get down the tunnel Carragher says he loves seeing Maresca running down the touchline celebrating. Interesting. When Odegaard got the camera out, it was, just get down the tunnel, man. So, but you want to see that, right?
Yeah, I've got no problem with that. I mean, different managers celebrate things different way. I mean, I don't think you'd see Areola do that.
Yeah,
But hey, it is what it is, man. I've got no problem with managers showing passion.
and AGT, the winner, obviously we've seen on socials doing the rounds. If you haven't seen it already, you sort of reacting to that and switching the TV off. But a word on Esteval, was he 18 years old to come on and do that? I think he tested the keeper once. I think Gittins had a chance, and eventually it goes in at the end, and it's
again, you think just hang on for one more minute and everyone calms down a bit because the result is a draw, and in this moment you probably take it no Alisson in goal, which definitely makes a difference. There's a screenshot just before the ball comes in where Robertson is kind of hunched over. Maybe he's got a slight knock or something, but that's almost 2 seconds of being hunched over to then get yourself back up. He could have used that time to maybe check himself, check his mirrors. Obviously Esteval's coming in behind. To be honest, Jack, like I said earlier, genuinely I watched about 11 minutes of that game because
it just happened to be that 11 minutes.
And it was it was like spread across the full 90 because I was there for the start and the end. But with these things, it's like, you've got a photographer, you've got to go and have pictures. And I'm in a pub, so I'll be able to hear if something happens. I didn't see Gakpo's goal.
It's a great assist for me. If he exactly means it, it's a great assist.
But again, who's crossing the ball in? It's Soboslai's the only one that's got the energy to do something at the minute. So I have to admit I didn't see much of the game because there was just too many things I needed to do on the engagement party. But look, 18 years old, they've obviously heard a lot of things about the good things about this kid, and he's got his moment there. I mean, to score a goal, it's not the most beautiful goal ever, but the cross has got to be stopped from a Liverpool point of view. If it isn't stopped, you've got to clear it the other side before it gets to Esteval. So big lessons there for Liverpool, but for Chelsea it's just pure jubilation. Like we've beaten them so many times in finals and extra time, penalties, last minute, and now we've lost the last 2 at Stamford Bridge and haven't won there in 6 years. So again, that's another thing that's got to change the next time we go back there for sure.
Yeah, I mean last season you were on the beach a little bit when you went there, in all fairness, but still it's one of them grounds for you. But Laurie, it's Chelsea in the title race. We all said at the start of the season, Club World Cup, maybe they could be. And then I think Matisse on his channel recently said, abandon the war, let's give up, let's stop fighting this battle. But now they've just beaten Liverpool.
Yeah, but they are, let's be honest, they're still only 7th. And like I said, prior to this game against Liverpool, they were under a lot of criticism. The manager was under some pressure. There was even some talk of some of the fans voicing their displeasure to the point where they wanted him gone. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
So football can be quite fickle like that. You know what I mean? 1 minute you're under pressure of losing your job, next minute people are hailing you as a hero, and they could be championship contenders. I would, if I'm giving my honest view, which I like to do, I wouldn't have thought that Chelsea are. I think their greater aspiration, or the more plausible aspiration, is for them to get in the top 4 or 5 or whatever, is to qualify for the Champions League next season
and compete to win a cup. I mean, they've got Champions League heritage. They're obviously in the Carabao still. The FA Cup will come, but like you were saying, drew at Brentford, lost to Bayern, lost to Man United, scraped past Lincoln, lost to Brighton, and then Benfica win, Liverpool win. So they're now on course. They've got Ange Postecoglou's Forest next, and Ajax, Sunderland, so they can put a bit of a run together now. And
not only that win against Liverpool, that's a real shot in the arm. And this was a point I was making downstairs when I did a show with the guys earlier at AFTV. I was saying that when you assume that the top of the table, which Arsenal now have, there is a little bit of extra pressure, believe it or not, because you are the hunted. Previously, Arsenal were hunting down Liverpool. When you are the top dog and you roll into town, the target on your back does become a little bit bigger.
What do you think suits us more as an
Arsenal
fan?
This is the point I'm trying to make.
Are we better hunted or
chasers
hunting?
Or being chased? I think psychologically sometimes it's better when you're chasing somebody rather than you're looking behind your shoulder all the time.
Yeah, because if they slip up, you've got a chance to capitalise. Yeah. If they don't, it's business.
You can imagine running a race and it's close, and you look over your shoulder and someone's right there, so you a little bit more pressure on you. You know what I mean? When you're in the ascendancy, when you're number one. But as the guys also said, you have to learn to live with that pressure. That comes with it. That comes with the territory.
Yeah, and just back to the conversation we had earlier, Declan Rice 43% as the best midfielder in the Prem, Caicedo on 35, Gravenberch on 12, and then someone else on 10. So,
yeah.
But it's worth noting that we are DR Sports. We are owned by Don Robbie himself, so maybe there's a little bit of Arsenal bias in there.
Aesthetically, Declan is probably a little bit easier on the eye, isn't he? He does a few more things.
Yeah, he's probably got more to his game than Caicedo does, but I don't think he does anything better than Caicedo that Caicedo can do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Like, he's probably got the again, like we said, the set pieces, the ability to ping the ball, the power through the midfield. But the things that Caicedo's amazing at, like which is winning the ball back, sort of being in two places at once, having a few sets of lungs. Like Rice isn't better than that. So I guess it depends what you want.
Now that Caicedo appears to have added
goals to his game, which is probably his big criticism.
And like I said, a lot of people will say that if Caicedo's even slightly off it, you see a bigger difference than say if Rice was slightly off it, because we got a stronger squad overall. So
and
it's close, man.
Same question to you about chasing or being chased. What do you think suits Liverpool more, especially in transition? Is it nicer to be a point behind and it's like if Arsenal slip we can get them, but other than that let's just do us and the spotlight's a little bit off?
I would always prefer the points on the board. I mean, we've been the chasers and it hasn't ever really worked for us in the Prem.
That was also Centurion City though, so I'll give you a pass.
The timing was unlucky because we came up against an imperious Manchester City not once but a few times, and we would do that. We'd be a point behind or 2 points behind. We'd win our game, so we're a point ahead, and then they'd win their game, and it was like,
and sometimes it's always a late dagger as well, isn't it?
Sometimes that's actually worse for the mentality when you're ahead, but you know they've got to play, and you kind of get your hopes up, then they win, and then you've got to go and pick yourself back up to that level again for the next game. And I think having the points on the board, I mean, we've won the Premier League in this era twice now, and it's been at a canter both times, so I would prefer to be being chased. But at the same time, whatever the situation is, just get the points on the board.
Yeah. Well, I think there was a Man City documentary on the season they were racing with us. I think it was their treble-winning season, and you see them all in the dressing room with a phone watching the Arsenal game, watching us drop points, and then it's like, right, phone down, Arsenal drop points out there, and you're up before you even
trust
kicked
me,
off.
there's no way that the Liverpool players did not know about the Arsenal score before they went onto that pitch on Saturday night. So it does play in your mind, but as much as you need to know this information, and because you need to know where you stand in the table, it can almost be a bit detrimental as well, because you've got to just focus on yourself. I know it sounds silly and easy to do.
No, I hear you.
You have to just go and get your
I mean,
points
I
on
would
the board,
agree with
and
you.
then you can put your feet up and watch the other games. But until then...
Yeah, I would agree with you. I
your
think
job.
on balance, if I was if it was down to me, I would you would want to have the points on the board and be a couple of points ahead. But I think psychologically sometimes when you're chasing somebody down, it just
Depends
takes
how
a
close
little
you are
bit
to
more of
them
the
as well.
pressure off you.
Depends
And then
how
again, like I
close.
said, when you roll into town as being top of the table, that target on your back does get a little bigger because everybody's so motivated by taking down the top of the table guys.
Yeah, when you're the number one, every game's a cup final for the team that you're playing against. They all want to beat you, and that's the power, I guess. In a way, it's the position that you have to be comfortable in if you're
That's the pressure that you have to embrace.
And at the minute, I don't think that Liverpool are comfortable with the fact that we're going to Palace away, we're going to Galatasaray, we're going to Chelsea. And it's like, we can get the champions. Like, big them up.
Like you're seeing all the tweets from Galatasaray and from Palace, and it means so much to beat.
It means so much. I mean, look, it was funny. I saw a clip of the Palace fans sat outside the Liverpool team bus, so the team bus couldn't move anyway, doing his laces, and that kind of housery. I'm not against it because I quite like it. It's quite funny, but you have to be prepared, and I think we are. We're old enough and ugly enough as Liverpool fans to understand what it means for other teams to beat Liverpool. But I want us to feel a bit more comfortable in our own skin as champions. Play with a bit more freedom and expression. Don't be so reactive. Be the ones that are proactive and make them, rise up to your level instead of the other way around.
Yeah, and anyone get your thoughts in the chat as well. We're going to start reading some more things out. But the team that are currently top of the table is Arsenal. For now, we've got a nice little 2 weeks as well. There's an international break, so at least we can parade this around, this little pretend trophy of we're top in
No, but you know what?
October,
Psychologically, it's come at
it means
time.
a lot. It's a great time, especially like you were saying earlier. It could have been 8 points if we lose to Newcastle. They beat Palace. It's it's not looking great. But West Ham's it's a game at home that they could have become the second team in Premier League history to win 3 consecutive games at the Emirates after who?
Brighton.
Another team to win 3 consecutive games at the Emirates in the Premier League era.
City.
Yeah, 6 in a row.
Oh yeah, it would have been City. Wouldn't
It's like 6. It's like 2017 to 23. They came to the Emirates every single year and just 2-0, 4-0, 3-0, 2-1.
There's a lot of slumpings. Man.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
But with regards to our game on Saturday, I've got to say, I mean, there is that old adage going around about there's no easy games in the Premier League. Well, West Ham did a lot to debunk that theory.
It's still true though. It's still true.
Well,
yes, a game can be easy, but the theory, I think, still remains.
Yeah, I guess. But if you watch that
made
game,
it look easy. But
we made it look very
easy
easy.
game, but you made it look
Yeah,
easy.
we made it
Zero
look very
XG
easy.
on target they had. I think they had one shot in the game that went over right. What was that first minute?
It was
and after
as
that,
comfortable as you. I can really remember being so sat there just thinking. The only slight disappointment was that we didn't nail them to the floor because we should really have.
Yeah.
That,
And
what was 2-0
Odegaard
should really have been
getting
4 or
injured.
5.
Odegaard, third
Eze
Premier League
missed a
home game in
sitter.
a row.
Gyökeres missed the sitter, and there were other people that we had a goal disallowed. Total control. I think we had something like 77% possession.
Yeah,
for
and
the
literally
majority of the
limited
game.
them to like 0 shots on
Yeah.
target. Right, didn't do anything. And
And let's be honest, they got some good players, man. Jared Bowen.
yeah, I mean, look, we've seen it in the past couple of years.
Somerville.
New
But we just
manager
shut
as
them
well,
down.
second game
New manager.
under Nuno. Thought they'd be a bit more defensively resolute, which they probably were. But it's just the most contrasting styles in a title race ever. You've got Arsenal where it's score if you can, but you might be able to hold them. And you've got Liverpool where you're probably not keeping a clean sheet, but you might be able to get something the other end. So stop them scoring if you can.
Yeah, we need to probably take a bit of a leaf out of that book, to be honest.
But we could
because
do one of
Arsenal's
yours.
defence is pretty much impenetrable. It's the best defence in Europe. And they used to say defence wins you titles,
Exactly.
and that is true to a certain degree. Maybe more in Italy, maybe, or in Europe, you would win more titles without scoring 80 to 100 goals. But yeah, I think the thing is, I can't really see the side of the argument of the Arsenal fans disappointed with that result. I saw some people on TV.
Yeah, the fan cam went viral where he was saying, there was Yardmans where he
Saying
said,
that-
I'm not celebrating anything unless it's the title. These games mean nothing unless they win us the title. And I think
Which
it was
he's got a
Ryan.
point. He's got a
Ryan
point.
came out
No,
and
that's
said,
not a point because you take every game as it
well,
comes.
just
So you have
just
to
enjoy
win every
football.
Well, I
game.
think
Yeah,
you
just
have
enjoy
to.
it.
Yeah, I mean,
enjoy it by being
why
disciplined.
you're not going to go to the game, pay your money for a ticket, watch your team win convincingly, keep a clean sheet, and not be happy about it.
Yeah.
Only unless you win the league at the end of the season.
I think the
You have to
disappointment
enjoy the
comes
journey
from
to get to there.
the fact that we were so dominant and the fact that we totally shut West Ham down.
What's wrong
You
with
would-
that?
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I think what some people were saying is that we should have really have gone on and, like I said earlier, nailed them to the floor. So, for example, we were 1-0 up after, when did we get that first goal?
I would say 38.
36
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah. And then,
We were in
then
complete
a
control
penalty.
before then, and we had complete control after then. So you would have thought that Arsenal would have gone on and put 3 or 4 past them, but we had to wait until the 93rd minute to get the penalty for Saka to really put it to bed. So I can understand.
Well, that's what
a
Ryan was
slight-
saying in the fan cam, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was saying that, it's all well and good we've beaten West Ham, but it's only 2-0 and it's not good enough and you've got to score more goals in these games.
Jack,
which
last
is- it's a
season,
bit-
a lot of the slot scorelines were 2-0 to
yeah.
Liverpool. And what does 2-0 really represent? Well, it represents that you were clinical to a certain level. You might have had 10 chances, but you've put 2 away. But you kept a clean sheet. And the word that came out of those games a lot from Liverpool last year was control. And Liverpool do not have control at the minute of games. Arsenal have control
That's
of
right.
the minute at the minute in games.
I think what Ryan might have been hinting at, and again, listen, he
Not
only
put
he
words
will
in his
know. He's
mouth,
not
yeah.
here to, right, is if you think about it, so we're winning 1-0, we're in control of the game, but we all know what football's like. Supposing West Ham lump the ball at the end of the pitch, the likes of Somerville gets on the end of it, he's through on goal, he gets brought down, we concede a penalty and they score. Very, very completely against the run of play, but they managed to get out of there with a draw.
that would have been a disaster.
That would have been us saying...
and we've seen that script before.
Exactly. So that would have been the fans saying, look, we should have been 3 or 4 up at that point, not 1. You know what I mean? So I think that's what Ryan might have been hinting at, I think.
Well, offside.
But other than that, I mean, come on now. We completely bossed that game. I personally was going into that game not fretting so much because I thought in fact, I actually predicted 2-0. But I thought it would be a lot harder.
Get that one in there that you got it right.
Oh, well, yeah. But I thought it would be a lot harder. I mean, as we've been saying, West Ham have a good record at Arsenal in recent years. I also factored into that West Ham new manager, a bit of a new manager bounce, and we had to factor into that a few days before that game, they'd gone to Everton, which is not an easy place to go, and they've got a creditable draw after being 1-0
First
down.
team to take points from Everton's new stadium. I
Yeah,
think.
exactly. So I was expecting a lot more resistance from West Ham. Now, it could be said that Nuno played into our hands a little bit by dropping so deep, so didn't offer up too much. But even so, it was a very convincing performance insofar as we just completely dominated them. shut
And
them
actually,
down.
last season, There wasn't many, from memory, you two would be able to tell me a lot better, but there wasn't many Arsenal 2-0 victories. There's a lot of draws, obviously, and you lost a
too
few.
many draws.
Mate,
14 draws.
2-0 wins. They're like rocking horse, SHIT. Get them in the bag. Get them in the bag.
Well,
They're the
you make
best
a
ones.
good point. I think there's something like 14 draws last season.
Yeah.
And again, you throw
the
So
most.
how can you look? I know you should have buried them a bit earlier, and maybe at 91 minutes you're thinking, right, if they get a corner here, we could all be leaving here in tears. But you get the goal, you win 2-0. That's one of the best football scores in football.
Yeah, it's just
Win
comfy.
the game 2-0. Take as many of them as you can across the year.
Yeah, and the thing that Arsenal fans are happy about is that last year, obviously, like I said, we lost to West Ham. The year before, we lost home to West Ham. We got Fulham away next. The last 2 years, we've not beaten. So
Yeah.
these are the fixtures where you learn a lot about Arsenal. And Offside Trap in the chat says we've had 3 years of failing, so there's just no point getting gassed at this point. No point getting ahead of yourself.
I might remind that contributor of one stat. The last time Arsenal went 3 years runners-up, what happened the next year? They won the title. So could we be seeing a repeat of that?
Back in, what
But
was
I mean,
that,
I've
99?
got to say, man, I mean, I had a conversation with Alex off a few weeks ago when, we slipped up against Liverpool, a game I thought that we should have won because I still, to this day, even though it's gone now and I shouldn't really be reflecting, I thought Liverpool were there for the taking. Similar with City, I thought we should have beaten them. I thought the tactics on the day were not right. So that led me to believe that maybe the manager might struggle a little bit because it's not the squad, We've had this conversation many times. We have, if not one of the best squad in the Premier League. And we've got the experience now. Those guys have come close a few times before. Now we should be trying to get it done. So I'm starting to feel a little bit confident now that we can do it. I really am.
Now, the last thing I want to speak about before we get on to our striker, because I know we've had a lot of conversations about our striker recently that we want to get into. Are you a little bit annoyed now, looking back, that Arteta's taken the handbrake off so much? Like, we started Eze and Ødegaard together in midweek, and so in Newcastle, he started Eze in the 10, he took the handbrake off. Does it annoy you now that when we went to Anfield, looking at how Liverpool have been, that we're probably the only team this year that hasn't troubled them? We're probably the least threatening team Liverpool have played. And
I
you
alluded
played
to
like
it earlier.
Bournemouth and that lot, and we're the one team that hasn't really given you any issues.
I was upset about that.
Are you
And
the
the
only
City
team
game.
that hasn't scored at Anfield this season?
Probably. I mean, did we have many shots on top? I can't recall any moments in that game where it's like, oh, that was really close. Bar Eze coming on in the last few minutes and dancing through a couple
I've
of
got to
times,
be honest,
but-
though. I think I was a bit more annoyed with the manager with the City game than I was with the Liverpool game. Because with the Liverpool game...
Yeah, you're at home.
You could argue,
Marino, Rice, Zubimendi midfielder. I think you started with Eze on the bench.
Yeah.
Eze's
I mean, don't get
pretty
me wrong,
much-
with the Liverpool game, I was a little bit annoyed because I think we got Eze at a disposal playing.
Just didn't go for it enough.
Yeah, we didn't. But I think the City game was arguably worse than that, even though... Because you only get a point for a draw.
Yeah.
So to me, that was 2 points dropped, big time. We should have beaten City that day. I mean, when have you seen City play that way as well, where they've literally got all the men behind the
6
ball?
at the back, 7 at the back.
So I was a little disappointed with that. But let's hope the manager's learnt the lessons. Since then, we've been a lot more expansive.
And before we talk about our striker, we got a super chat here from Rishab Narayan, who says, I think we aren't giving Chelsea enough credit for this. Fear this may ignite them to get a good run going. They've been dropping points because of injuries, which is a good point. But like we're saying, are they
Everybody
a
has
bit too
injuries.
far gone for title race talk? Or
I
you think-
personally didn't see them as serious title contenders. Look, they may prove me wrong. I mean, maybe that result on Saturday is a shot in the arm that they may need. But I still don't think...
they'll
to
finish
me, I
fourth
think
or
the main title contenders for me are Arsenal, Liverpool and City.
Yeah.
And if I'm being pushed, I would say it's Arsenal and Liverpool. But I do think City will be there or thereabouts. I don't see Chelsea in that shake-up. But listen, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to be careful. Obviously, you remember last year on the FCM pod, Bavs came on and said, I don't really see Liverpool as our biggest threat. I'm still waiting for Man City, and I still see that getting quoted every week about how they ruled out.
neck for that for a while.
Yeah.
We were 10 points clear. He's still not worried about us.
Yeah, every single time you won or we dropped points, it was the same reply every time. You just see, someone quoted your tweet from 3 months ago, and I was like, I wonder which one that is.
The Necks were being stood on last season. But I think it would be very naive of Arsenal fans, and I'm not saying I've seen evidence of this, but to be 1 point clear and almost think that the whole kind of pendulum has swung your way and it's just a clear road from here would be heavily, heavily disingenuous. But I do think as well Arsenal probably do deserve to be there. right now. If we're looking at performances and levels and defence, especially, Arsenal definitely do deserve to be there. But it's a very, 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 very long season, and unfortunately for Arsenal, when we get to March and April, Man City have been there and done it before, and Liverpool have been there and done it before, and that's
that's a fair comment.
But I think if you spoke to a lot of Arsenal fans and said, look, you're going to go to Anfield, you're going to go to Old Trafford, you're going to play Newcastle away, you're going to play City at home, and once you've got through all them games, you're going to be top by a point, you would have gone, yeah, all right, yeah,
exactly,
really happy with that.
But when those fixtures came out a few months back, a lot of people said, oh gosh.
I mean, you yourself, right? When we beat Arsenal, you said title's done. You downstairs. I know you meant it at the time.
That was
I remember your face
in the throes of my disappointment.
Yeah,
because I've got to be honest and say, I mean, you do tend to be a little bit reactionary after losses, but I think it wasn't just the fact that we lost.
It's the way.
It was, I just thought we threw away a golden opportunity to, make a statement that day, and we didn't take it. But now, listen. Things have somewhat changed. Who expected Liverpool to lose 3 games on the bounce? Nobody did that. So, and here we are.
It's more, the Champions League loss doesn't really concern me too much, because I still think Liverpool have got well more than enough to finish in the top, 16? Top 24?
Top 8 to go straight through, top 16 to do a playoff.
Yeah.
I mean, Galatasaray away, there's no shame in that. It's the second loudest ground in the world, they were saying.
Yeah, so that's like, there's 6 games still to play, which Liverpool, I mean, I know our next one is Frankfurt, then Real Madrid, so it's going to be very difficult. But that one is like, well, you can lose. The year we won the Champions League, we lost 3 games. So it can easily be done. You can still
I think
go far.
my main thing was that you lost 3 on the road.
No, but so that
you lose 1, so you think, okay.
The 2 Prem games have really cut me deep, though.
Yes.
If I'm honest,
on
the Champions League, I can take it away, difficult environment, whatever. But to lose 2 Prem games on the bounce in the 96th minute of each game shows that you were probably 30 seconds away from just being professional, shutting up shop, taking the draw. Sometimes take the draw, and we just couldn't do that. So. I mean, if I see us lose another game last minute like that, my head might fall off.
It's not going to be fun. Now, Laurie, it's gone viral on social media. There's a comparison we can show on screen now, which is between Benjamin Sesko and Victor Gyökeres. Now, Sesko has played a lot less minutes in the Premier League, and he's got the same amount of non-penalty goals. Now, I'm not saying I made this graphic. There's a chance I might have made it. However, no, it was Richard. But anything to read into that? I mean, obviously, they're not counting Gyökeres' penalty on there, but less minutes, same amount of goals. Still happy with our choices?
Yes, I am. I still believe that on balance, Gyökeres is the better goal scorer. You know what I mean? Sesko, yes, he's got a couple of goals to his credit. Good for him. But I certainly wouldn't be, looking to change my mind on anything.
So if they offered you a swap now, you say, no, I'm all right.
To me, Gyökeres is a better finisher than Sesko. Listen, the stats bear it out. So, I've got no reason to change my mind. I do actually think, sorry to belabor the point, I do think that Gyökeres will come good. I really do. Although on Saturday, I think it's fair to say he probably had his least effective game for Arsenal of the 7 or whatever, 8 or 9 or what he's had so far. I don't think on Saturday he was at his best. There may be extenuous circumstances for that. We should have scored.
We had 20 plus shots, I think, at home to West Ham, and then maybe alarms you a little bit that your new centre forward doesn't get one of them.
Yeah. But even overall, I think for example, in the previous 2 games prior to the West Ham game, he'd not scored, but he looked quite sharp.
Yeah, Olympiacos is his shot that hits the post, and then Newcastle, he wins the penalty that isn't given, and he has another few big moments where he's holding the ball up. But AGT, I'll ask you not as a neutral, not as a hater, somewhere in the middle. What have you made of just watching him without sort of your heart being in it?
In terms of Sesko,
in terms of Gyökeres, because everyone says he doesn't look great and he's doing some good stuff off the ball, but all the Arsenal fans last season were saying, Havertz does great things off the ball but doesn't score the goals, so I want someone that's going to score the goals. And now it seems we're praising Gyökeres for the off the ball stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of going down that road, isn't it? Of like, look how selfless he is, look what he does off the ball,
drawing defenders
look how he draws
away.
Defenders in, he brings other players in. And you have to do that as a striker in the Premier League. There has to be, if you're a big number 9, like he is, 6'3", big lad, you do need to be able to be a battering ram at times. We saw Haaland do that perfectly yesterday. So there's that fine balance. What you don't want to do, he's clearly the best at it in the world. But what you don't want to do is go 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 weeks without scoring, and everyone's saying, "Oh, it's okay though, because look what he does off the ball." If you're the number 9. I need to see you scoring for a top team in Europe. You need to have a 1-2 record.
Yeah.
In all comps, ideally, but certainly in the Prem, to be a Premier League winner, you need a 1-2 record. I think it's 3 goals.
He's got
so far?
he's got
in the
3
Prem?
goals. So he got a goal against Leeds and a penalty against
Forest?
Leeds, and then 1 against Forest. So
Okay. So for me,
No, but
after
why do
7
people
games,
always highlight that? No one does that with Haaland. No one says he's got 6 goals, but 4 of them are penalties. To me, if you score, you score.
penalties is. No, I'm not saying that at all.
So he's got 3 in what?
No,
7,
get
8?
as many penalties as you can. As
No,
a
it's just
number
that
9.
Jack was saying, but the penalties.
Look, I didn't make the graphic. I didn't make the graphic.
But
I was told
I
the guy
don't
to make
really.
it.
What I think the big question mark about Gyökeres is what has he done? And this isn't me having shots; it's me asking the question. What did he do at Anfield away? What did he do against City? And what did he do at Old Trafford? Pretty much nothing. So if I was spending, and again, we've spent big money this summer, and I expect this from my strikers as well. This isn't just a Gyökeres thing. I want Isak and Ekitike to be getting them numbers as well. But I think when you are the main man, you've been brought in to score the goals. I need you scoring in the small games, in the medium games, in the big games, every game if possible.
Mm-hmm.
So there is starting to become this narrative, well, he's a bit of a battering ram and he'll score against the smaller teams. People say that's the teams that Arsenal struggled against last season. So you could argue that if you keep doing that and then keep having a decent record against the big 6, it could win you the league. But I need to see you at least shooting every single game, at least having 2 or 3 massive chances in every game. If you don't score them, there's always the next game. But
I think the concern
I need to see him scoring in the big games.
Well, listen,
That's what you bought him in for.
Forget the big games. He's gone 6 games now without a goal. That's got to be a bit of a concern. And like I said, on Saturday, what was noticeable is that it wasn't just the fact that he didn't score. There was a couple of chances there where he could have had that he wasn't really up to the pace of play. So, for example, you would have noted, Jack, the cross from Declan Rice. It was very similar to the one that Eze provided him with against Forest.
Yeah, where it sort of slid across the face of goal when he's
this
not
one,
there.
He missed the ball completely. So that's what I'm saying. There is a slight concern. He's gone 6 games now without a goal. He's brought in to be that man, the hit man up top. He's gone 6 without a goal. It's a slight concern. But I don't know, man. Maybe it's wishful thinking, but I still believe in him. I set a target for him of 20 Premier League goals for the season, and I still think he can get it. Yeah, 7 games gone, he's got 3.
Do you care who they're against?
So that's almost 1 in 2.
Yeah, does that matter to you who they're against? Because a lot of people were saying that, maybe Anfield away early in his career and Old Trafford, that's maybe a game where Arteta, if he could, he would have started Havertz. So it's let's not judge him on them too much, but I need you to be the battering ram and the flat track bully against the small teams. But if you're not then scoring against West Ham, that's when it's...
That does factor in, but let's be honest, man. The currency for strikers is goals. Nobody gives a damn about how many penalties are involved. Nobody against who against. There's no statistical breakdown. All we want at the end of the season is how many goals did he get? You know what I mean? That's what ultimately that's how he'll be judged. When it comes to strikers, and Alex, all of you guys know, it's a very binary equation. How many goals did you get? You know what I mean? Not how many times did you hold the ball up? How many, even assists? People are not bothered about that. People are bothered with goals. And even your guy, Isak, he's had his little honeymoon period, but soon the same will apply to him. They'll say, look, man, you've had 3-4 games now, you've not scored. Okay, he's got 1 in.
Yeah. I think the game against United, I think if the right people score, I mean, I'll take any scorers at this stage, but if the right people score by the right people, I'm saying, imagine if Wirtz gets a goal against United, imagine Isak does, then the fire is reignited. And
floodgates are opened, is what everyone keeps saying about Gyökeres and your players, and there's been a few more, like Sesko, they're saying now he's getting them, maybe he's getting that momentum, and maybe Gyökeres needs that.
I think we need a battering of a team for a big morale boost. We just need to batter a team.
Let me tell you who's coming to Old Trafford.
Anfield.
Coming to Anfield next.
I know, but I'm not going to get drawn into that again because I've ever since the 7-0, I've predicted similar each year, and it's never been that. So.
But we'll get into that sort of
That's
later.
next week's chat.
Yeah,
though,
exactly.
Isn't it,
As we get later into the week. But that is it for today. So thank you so much for watching Live at 5 on DR Sports. We'll be back again tomorrow. I think it's Abby and Kenya. Obviously live on YouTube as always, live on Samsung Plus TV as always. So look, thanks for being here. Drop a comment if you haven't already. Drop a like on the video if you haven't already. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Calling all football fans in the UK, it's official. GFN Soccer TV has launched on Samsung TV Plus. All the banter, all the news, all the time.